Hey, and welcome to another Liberty's Lantern. Today I'm wearing a shirt with a whole bunch of Viking warriors on it because the topic today is a viewer-inspired topic. Thank you, George Squires, for sending in another topic. And today we're going to be talking about libertarian infighting. Yes, every libertarian out there has undoubtedly run into another libertarian who has told you that you are not a libertarian, even though you know you are. So, first of all, I want to say we're doing something different here at Liberty's Lantern. We're all in politics. We've all heard of fundraisers. Well, we're not doing a fundraiser. I don't want your money. I want your friends. So we're doing a friend raiser. Yes, a friend raiser. So I want you to share this video and get people to like Liberty's Lantern and follow us. That's what we're doing for the month of April. So really exciting times at Liberty's Lantern. I want to really bump up our viewership. So I'm asking for all of my viewers to do a friend raiser. So this is my PBS moment here. Even though a lot of people don't think PBS is a libertarian thing, it can be, because it can be funded by the public, but we need to get there first. But that's another story for another time. So we're going to move on from that. But this is my fundraising moment, my friend raising moment with you guys. Share, like, and ask your friends to do the same. I appreciate it. And once we come back from our intro, we will start talking about libertarian infighting. And we're back. Okay, so we've got to remember that the Libertarian Party is a big tent, and we have a lot of different ideas that could probably be broken into many different parties, but we all have a lot of the same common core ideas, values, and beliefs. It's just how do we get there? And we disagree on the finer points. So when the finer points come up, and they come up a lot, we start arguing. And we are worse than family around the Thanksgiving Day table. Commonly, libertarians are broken up into 10 groups. And I'm going to share the screen right over here. So you've got your anarcho-capitalism. Basically, right over here, they believe that governments monopolize services would be better left to corporations. They should be abolished entirely in favor of a system in which corporations provide services, and on and on and on. Then you have civil libertarianism. Civil libertarians believe the government should not pass laws that restrict, oppress, or selectively fail to protect people in their day-to-day lives. Classical liberalism. Classical liberalists agree with the words of the Declaration of Independence, that all people have basic human rights, that the sole legitimate function of government is to protect those rights. Fiscal libertarianism, also referred to as laissez-faire capitalists, believe in free trade, low or non-existent taxes, and minimal or non-existent corporate regulation. Geo-libertarianism, also called one-taxers, are fiscal libertarians who believe that land can never be owned but must be rented. They generally propose an abolishment of all income and sales taxes. Libertarian socialism. Libertarian socialists agree with anarcho-capitalists. The government is a monopoly and should be abolished, but they believe nations should be ruled instead by work-share cooperatives or labor unions instead of corporations. Minarchists, like anarcho-capitalists, libertarian socialists, minarchists believe that most functions currently served by the government should be served by smaller, non-governmental groups, but they believe in the government is still needed to serve a few collective needs such as military defense. Neo-libertarianism. Neo-libertarians are fiscal libertarians who support a strong military and believe the U.S. government should use that military to overthrow dangerous and oppressive regimes. Objectivism. Wow, I'm getting tongue-tied here today. Objectivism, a movement, was founded by the Russian-American novelist Ayn Rand, the author of Atlas Shrugged and Fountainhead, who incorporated fiscal libertarianism into a broader philosophy emphasizing rugged individualism and what she called the virtue of selflessness. And lastly, we have paleo-libertarianism. Paleo-libertarians differ from neo-libertarians as they are isolationists and do not believe that the United States should become entangled in international affairs. So if I had to put myself on this ranking, I would probably say I'm somewhere between classical liberalism and minarchist. But that's just me. And that doesn't necessarily mean that, I'm more or less libertarian than anybody else. If you fit into any 10 of these categories, you, my friend, are a libertarian. By the way, if you want to read more of this, this is on thoughtco.com. And you can do a search on there for what kind of libertarian are you, and you can read the article in its entirety, but I just wanted to kind of hit some of the highlights right there. So yeah, that's where our fighting comes from, is that we have lots of different ideas on how to accomplish a lot of the same goals. One of the things that we have to remember is that by how we fit into those 10 different categories, we're going to interpret things a little differently. Like, what exactly is the non-aggression policy and how does it affect our day-to-day lives? This is very important. I mean, we all believe in the non-aggression policy, or the NAP, and we want to make sure that we apply that not only to our political beliefs, but also to our personal beliefs. Well, how does that apply, and where does the NAP start and stop, is what a lot of these people disagree on. Or how do we get to our end goals? What are our end goals? It changes from type of libertarian to type of libertarian. Now, I know personally, I know a lot of anarcho-capitalists, I know a lot of minarchists, I know a lot of, actually, I know a lot of 9 out of 10. I can't really say I've met many libertarian socialists. But hey, the rest, I know people that really do fit into all 9 out of 10 of these categories. And do we butt heads? Absolutely. We have, I wouldn't say arguments, but we have heated discussion about all of this. And heated discussion is great because it really flushes out ideas. It's phenomenal. It's what makes libertarianism so great. But at the end of the day, at the end of your heated discussion, pat them on the back and say, hey, let's go get a beer. And that's what really makes libertarianism great. That's something that we all need to start applying to our online conversations. That's something we all need to start applying to our personal conversations with different libertarians. Those are the things that make libertarianism great. The fact that I disagree with you, but I understand where you're coming from, and we may not agree on everything, but at least we have a general direction where we're heading, and we're heading in the same direction. I'm going to say that again. I may not agree with you on everything, but we're headed in the same general direction. So let's move on and agree to disagree. That's the important part. The agreeing to disagree. Larry Sharpe talks about how do we talk to Republicans and how do we talk to Democrats. But what's also very important is how do we talk to other libertarians? Another great article, and I think this one really hits things on the head. If you've never read Avens O'Brien, by the way, read some of her articles. She actually has a lot of great articles. I asked for her permission to share this before, and she was actually kind of excited about it, so I'm excited. But she's talking more about disagreeing on the feminist aspect, which, by the way, you know, a lot of the feminist movement gets a lot of flack right now. It's not the feminist movement that's getting flack. It's the wackos who call themselves feminists that are getting the flack. So if someone just says that they're a feminist, please don't automatically judge them. That's another point. That's another story altogether. But okay, let me share my screen with you again here. And it starts off to it starts off. I mean, and like I said, the entire article is really talking about feminism, and it's a couple of pages long here. But here, I mean, I want you to look at the meme right over here. Announcing I'm offended is basically telling the world you can't control your own emotions, so everyone else should do it for you. I think that one's right on point. There was a quote that I had on this page. The fact is, maybe we were both being a little condescending to our target audiences, but it was my intention to actually improve the situation for libertarian men by observing various behaviors and causes that women to back away. These were not all acceptable to libertarian men, but as I mentioned in numerous responses when people got upset, if you don't like these are true or applicable, it isn't advice for you. I think that is one of the great quotes right there. Not everything that you're going to read or see or whatever is applicable to you. Don't take everything personally. Don't get butthurt about things. And she continues. But I mean, the article continues. It's a really great read. It is on Libertarian Republic. Do a search for 5 things Libertarian Infighting teaches us about people, or do a search for Avens, because she is a phenomenal writer and a phenomenal advocate for the Libertarian Party. So make sure you get out there and read that stuff. So boiling it down, don't take things personally. Things can always just be a discussion. You don't always have to agree with everything. It's really important. If we keep disagreeing and being hurt by other libertarians, when in reality we have the same goals moving forward, how to get the airship off the ground, why are we fighting? Why are we arguing? We just have to learn to respect each other. We need to not take things personally. See if it applies to us. See if what they're saying is incendiary. We've got to stop the name calling. I've been called a statist. I didn't get butthurt over it. But people automatically start going to name calling. And if I was a weaker person, would I be offended? Probably. It's not fun to be called a statist. No one wants to be called a statist. But hey, it happens. Should they have jumped to name calling? Probably not. I wasn't even attacking them. I was asking them to find out what their position was. In fact, actually, at the end of the conversation, we were agreeing on most things. So go figure that out. But he was taking everything so personally that, yeah, it got thrown into a degree that it shouldn't have. And if I got butthurt, I could have maybe dug down to his level and started calling names back. Luckily, I don't get hurt by names. I've been called far worse than statist in my life, even though that's pretty low. I will say that. But I do believe, I mean, like I said, I'm a classical liberal and minarchist. I'm in that weird gray zone between the two. So I do believe in a federal government, a small one that could be probably doled out to a lot of different parts. And if you don't agree with me, that's great. That's part of the wonder of the Libertarian Party. Not everyone's going to agree with you. Not everyone's going to agree with me. And in fact, I don't want you to agree with me on everything. Because the more times that we have open, heated discussions about the directions that we want to go in, well, I may tell you something that you never thought of. Or maybe you tell me something that I never thought of and you change my opinion. It's a two-way street. But if all of a sudden you start becoming vitriolic or argumentative or any one of the other nasty words out there, you're going to shut people down. And if that's your goal and you're just being a troll, well, move on. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to actually restore liberty to this country. And maybe some people out there don't even think that we need to restore liberty, and liberty has never left. I would personally disagree wholeheartedly. But that's your opinion, and we can have an open, heated discussion about it. It's not difficult. There's a lot to talk about. What happened to the government of 30, 40 years ago where we had open discussions on the floor of Congress? And granted, it hadn't always been that way. Doctors have been called to the floor of Congress because someone got bludgeoned over the head with a cane. People shouted so loudly that no one could hear him speak in the halls of Congress. So yes, it happens both ways. Politics in the United States is an ebb and flow. But let's get back to the good times. Of course, during the good times, there was a lot of bad things going on, and let's not bring those back either. But that's definitely something that we need to have as an open dialogue so we can make ourselves progress forward. Read dissenting opinions. Understand where they're coming from. And you yourself will become less dissenting. For us to grow, for us to prosper as a political party, or as a political ideal, if that's what your faith in the Libertarian Party is, then yes, grow, become a better libertarian. That's my challenge to you, besides the fundraiser that we talked about at the beginning of the show. I've got 2 challenges for you this week. Can you believe it? Well, that's all I have to say about this. I hope I gave you some food for thought. I hope that you have taken something away from this conversation that maybe you didn't think of before. And hey, if you want to shoot me a message and tell me how wrong I am and the government needs to burn in the fiery depths of the place down under, you tell me that too. Or if you think that we need to do whatever we need to do, shoot me a message. You can message me on Liberty's Lantern. Well, actually, it's facebook.com/Liberty's Lantern. Message me. Tell me what you think. I want to hear it, and I'll openly discuss anything with you that you wish to discuss. You have a great Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your day, especially now that we're getting into the spring months, and I hope all of your weather is getting as warm and sunny as mine. And you have a great weekend.